7.6.
Kevin and his partner Jeanette live in Birmingham, England. Last year they decided to go on a winter holiday to Trinidad in the Caribbean, and they looked for flights online. They were very happy to find cheap flights, only £800 return for the two of them. Kevin booked the flights and they started to plan their holiday. On the day of their flight, they arrived at Birmingham Airport and parked their car in the long-stay car park. Then they walked into the terminal building and tried to check in their bags. The check-in assistant looked at their boarding passes and asked where they wanted to go. "Trinidad," they replied. "We're going there on holiday." The check-in assistant looked surprised.
(7.7)
Where do you want to go?
Trinidad. We're going there on holiday.
I'm sorry, but there are no flights from here to Trinidad.
No flights? But we booked last month.
Let me check your booking. Oh, I see. I'm really sorry, but your booking isn't from this Birmingham. It's from Birmingham, Alabama, in the United States.
No! It can't be!
I'm very sorry, but it is. Look, it says BHM. That's the code for Birmingham Airport in the States. You can't fly from here.
I don't believe it! Kevin, did you check the airport when you booked?
Yeah, it was Birmingham. I didn't check which Birmingham.
You idiot!
I'm very sorry, but you can't fly today.
Well, that's ruined.
Everybody can make a mistake, can't they?
A mistake?
7.10.
1. Dog. D. I called a taxi. I used an app. It arrived in 5 minutes.
2.
Tie. T. We talked about a holiday. We looked online. We booked a hotel.
3.
Id. He needed a passport. He wanted it fast. He waited a long time.
(7.11)
Asked. Cooked. Ended. Finished. Liked. Lived. Painted. Played. Started. Stopped. Travelled. Watched. Worked.
(7.12)
1.
Play tennis.
2.
Travel by train.
3.
Cook lunch.
4.
Wait for a bus.
5.
Play the guitar.
6.
Study English.
7.
Watch TV.
8.
Listen to music.
4.6.
Yacht. Jazz. J.
4.7. 1.
Yet. Jet.
2.
Yes. Jess.
3.
Yours. Jaws.
4.8. 1.
Yet.
2.
Jess.
3.
Yours.
4.10. 1. 2. 3.
Say cheese!
4.
What's that?
5.
What did you think? I liked the ending.
Six.
Stay, girl!
9.6. Julia.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes, I'm very, very scared of spiders.
Oh, and how long have you had this phobia?
I've had it since I was about 12, so for more than 30 years.
Did something happen to start the phobia?
I remember, and it's when I think I started being frightened, I remember a very big spider in the flat that we lived in at the time coming out from under the television and going across the room, and me being absolutely terrified. And that's the first time I remember being scared.
How does it affect your life?
In the past, it was really awful. I mean, I couldn't sit in the same room as a spider, and I always had to keep all the doors and windows shut because I was frightened that spiders might come in. But I had some therapy, and I can now sit in the same room as a spider. Not for long. It still has to be moved, and I can put it in a glass now and take it outside myself, if I have to, if there's nobody else there. So it doesn't affect me as badly as it did before, but I still don't like them.
What kind of therapy did you have? How long did it take?
Probably about 6 weeks. I went to the therapist's office and he used a kind of hypnosis. He made me go back to that first incident with the spider and the TV, and we talked about it again and again until it wasn't so frightening. And then in the last session, he brought in a spider in a jar into the room, and he made me hold the jar. I couldn't put the spider on my hand, but that was a great improvement, because before I couldn't even look at a drawing of a spider in a children's book. And I certainly couldn't look at photos of spiders.
Wow, amazing.
Chloe.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes. I have a phobia of buttons.
Buttons? On clothes?
Yes. I don't like touching them.
Oh. And, how long have you had the phobia?
All my life, I think. For as long as I can remember.
Uh-huh. And, do you know what happened to start the phobia?
I don't know exactly, but my mum has told me that when I was very little, about 6 or 7 months old, she tried to dress me in a cardigan, a woolen cardigan, with buttons that my grandmother had made for me. And apparently I screamed and screamed until she took it off again.
Okay. And how does the phobia affect your life?
It really affects the kind of clothes I can buy, especially in the winter when I need a coat. There aren't many coats that don't have buttons. But it's better than it was. When I was younger, I refused to wear anything that had buttons. So, for example, my mother had to adapt my school uniform so that there were no buttons.
Have you had any therapy?
No. I haven't had any therapy. It seems such a silly thing to be afraid of.
What about if other people are wearing clothes with buttons on? Is that okay?
Well, if the buttons aren't touching me, that's fine. But I don't like hugging people that have buttons on their clothes.
Nine 9.9. 1.
I've worked. I've worked here. I've worked here for 10 years.
2.
We've lived. We've lived in London. We've lived in London since 2012.
3.
How long? How long have you known? How long have you known your best friend?
Nine 9.11. Have.
Do you have a pet? What is it? How long have you had it?
Do you have a tablet? What kind? How long have you had it?
Live.
Do you live in a modern flat? How old is it? How long have you lived there?
Do you live near this school? Where exactly? How long have you lived there?
No.
Do you know anybody from another country? Where's he or she from? How long have you known him or her?
B.
Are you a fan of a football team? Which team? How long have you been a fan?
Are you a member of a club or organisation? Which one? How long have you been a member? Are you married? What's your partner's name? How long have you been married?
Seven 7.1. Simon.
When I was about 30, I got a job as an editor in a publishing company. It was my first office job, and I didn't really know what to wear. But for the interview, I wore a suit. In fact, I bought the suit specially for the interview. I got the job, so I thought that must be okay. So, on the first day, I went to work wearing a suit and tie. I got to work early. I wanted to make a good impression, and I was the first person in the office. So I went in, I found my desk with my name on it, and I sat down. And there were a few papers and documents for me to read, so I started reading those. I turned on my computer, and after about 10-15 minutes, the other people in the office started to arrive. And I noticed that nobody else was wearing a suit. And I thought, OK, it's not a big problem. So I introduced myself to the other people. I said, "Hello, how are you? Hello, pleased to meet you." And the next thing someone said to me was, "My computer's really slow. Do you think you know what the problem is?" And I said, No, not really. So then I introduced myself to somebody else and said, "Hello, nice to meet you." And she replied, "Hello, nice to meet you." And then she said, "Do you know how I can connect my computer to the printer?" And I said, "No, I have no idea how to do that." Anyway, I went back to work, and about half an hour later I had a meeting with my boss. And she said, "How's it going?" And I said, "Yeah, it's all good." "Well, everybody seems really nice. Just one thing. Why does everybody think I can fix their computer?" And she looked at me and what I was wearing, and she said, "It's your suit. Nobody in this office ever wears a suit. So they think you're from the IT department and you've come to help with a computer problem. They're the only ones who wear suits." So, I never wore it again, to this day.
Claire.
It was my first day at work as a teacher at a language school, and they asked me to come the first week of term to observe some teachers, to watch their lessons, and then I was going to start teaching the following week. But when I arrived there, they told me that one of the teachers was ill, and they asked me to take the class, and it was 3-year-old kids. So I was in a class with about 10 3-year-olds who were running around. My boss gave me a storybook to read to them, but the kids couldn't speak any English. I'd never taught, or never been trained to teach children that small. I tried to read the book to 2 of them, but the others were running around, shouting and hitting each other. And at the worst possible moment, just when all of them were being really noisy and not doing anything I was telling them to, my boss, the director of the school, opened the door and just looked at me. I felt terrible, but then she said, "These children are too young for you, aren't they?" And I said yes. I was nearly crying. Luckily, after that, she never gave me any classes with really young children, but it was the most stressful class I've ever tried to teach.
(7.4)
I want to come.
It's difficult to say.
Try not to be late.
(7.5) 1.
Have you ever tried to learn something new and failed?
2.
How important is it to know how to drive?
3.
How long do you usually spend deciding what to wear in the morning?
4.
Have you ever forgotten to turn off your phone during a class or concert?
5.
Where are you hoping to go for your next holiday?
6.
Are you planning to go anywhere next weekend?
7.
Would you like to work or study in another country?
8.
Have you ever pretended to be ill when you weren't?
9.
Do you think it's important to learn to cook at school?
10.
Do you think it's possible to stay friends with an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend?
12.3.
Hello, Rosemary. How are you this morning?
Hello, Iris. I'm fine, thanks. But you'll never guess what's happened. Jack and Emma have broken up.
No! Jack and Emma? From number 36? Oh, that can't be true. I saw them last week and they looked really happy.
No, it's definitely true. I heard them shouting. They were having a terrible argument.
No. When?
Last night, after he came home from work.
Oh, what did they say?
Well, I wasn't really listening.
Of course not.
But I couldn't help hearing. She was talking so loudly. And of course, the walls are very thin.
So, what did they say?
Well, she said that she was going to stay with her mum. She told him that she wouldn't come back.
Oh, how awful. What about the children?
She said she'd taken them to her sister's. I suppose she'll take them with her in the end. And anyway, then 5 minutes later, I saw her leaving the house with a suitcase.
No. Why do you think she's leaving him? Is he seeing another woman?
I don't know. Oh, here's my bus.
Oh, I must go and tell Mrs. Jones at number 14. She's always thought there was something strange about him. I'll see you later.
Bye, love.
.4.
Hi, Emma. I'm back. Where are you?
I'm upstairs in the bedroom. I'm packing.
Why? Where are you going?
I'm going to stay with my mum.
Your mum? Why?
She's had an accident. She fell over in the street yesterday and she's broken her leg.
Oh, how awful. Poor thing. Shall I go and make you a cup of tea?
That'd be lovely. Thanks, darling.
How long do you think you'll have to stay?
I won't come back until the weekend, I don't think.
Sorry? Until when?
Until the weekend. I'll have to make sure she's okay. I've taken the children to my sister's for the night and she'll take them to school tomorrow morning.
Can you pick them up after school?
Of course I can, darling. Now, don't worry about anything. We'll be absolutely fine. Drink your tea and I'll go and get your suitcase.
Thanks, darling. The taxi will be here in 5 minutes.